What's up, guys? Inside the ropes, back, post-fight. Uh, I'm actually got the fights on again as we speak. Um, Light heavyweight division was on showcase tonight, and you know, it wasn't a horrible night of fights. Definitely could have been a better night. Um, Started with Pascal versus Alvarez, and Alvarez looked really good early. I mean, he looked sharp. His jab was fantastic all night, really. His jab was just tremendous. He was definitely the crisper, harder, cleaner puncher throughout most of the fight. It was a weird fight, though, because, him and Pascal, neither one of them throw a lot of punches from what I took out of this fight. Pascal I know quite a bit about, but Alvarez, I'll be honest, coming into this fight, I didn't know much about him. So I wasn't really sure what to expect from him. But his jab was tremendous. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we'd have like a round where nothing went on. And then all of a sudden, they would explode. And power shots were flinging everywhere. And they were both definitely hurt a few times in this fight. And man, Pascal, tough loss for him, but that dude's got the heart of an absolute warrior, man. He does not back down. He's always there. He's always giving it whatever he can. It might not be the most, aesthetically pleasing fight, if you will, but he always gives whatever he's got, and he tries, man. He really does. But this is definitely a hard loss because, the two Kovalev losses. Now you lose to a guy who was, even though he's 33 years old and was a ranked contender, was the number one contender going into this fight, he's relatively unknown. And you lose to him now, and now you got to kind of sit there and wonder, what do we do? I mean, he was ranked at number 12 when he came into this fight. So after this loss, I can't see him, going up in the rankings, obviously. He's going to drop even more. And in a division like the light heavyweight division where, Ward and Kovalev and Stevens are the top, it's kind of like, where does he go now, And I'm sure he can still draw, especially in Quebec and in Canada. He's extremely popular. You can see that all night throughout the fight. The fans are very much behind him out there, so he could probably still do fights out there and make decent money doing it. But if I was his team, I'd be strongly advising him to retire. He takes a lot of shots and a lot of clean, hard shots. Kovalev really did a number on him in those two fights, and I don't know, how bad it was in the ring for him, but you can definitely tell that he's not the same fighter anymore. He's not quite as quick as he once was. His reaction time is definitely slowed, and he takes a lot more punishment these days. And, you hate to see guys stay past their prime and just get beat on because they need a paycheck. So hopefully, maybe he does one more fight with another local guy and, make it a big deal for the local fans and maybe get him a win and then he can retire with that. But I hope he doesn't stay around much longer because as entertaining as this fight was, and it was a pretty entertaining fight, yeah, you had your little moments where not much went on, but they still mixed it up quite often. And for two big guys who are known to be pretty big punchers, they were in there slinging shots at each other. Hopefully, Pascal is understanding after this one that, hey, it might be time to think about packing it in. But for Alvarez, this was the second fight in a row that he's beaten a former champ, a guy who's known to be a tough fighter. And yeah, man, I liked what I saw with him. His jab is absolutely fantastic, and I'm a big fan of the jab. I think the jab is a underrated and forgotten weapon these days. You think back throughout history, there were guys who used jabs to perfection to dominate in boxing. Muhammad Ali, Lennox Lewis. Just think of the Klitschko's for a year. I mean, the jab. Jermaine Taylor, when he was at his peak, the reason he was there, in my opinion, was because he had a jab that was, like a piston. It was boom, 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 just automatic. He would drill you with that jab over and over and over. And that's, Alvarez's jab. I'm actually watching a replay of the fight right now, and his jab is crisp, it's clean, it's quick, snaps, he doesn't push it, and he's got some decent power behind his shots. His hands seem pretty quick. He's got, decent foot movement, decent head movement, nice defense. His hands were up most of the night. He didn't allow much really clean shots to land on him. Most of the shots had to get around his guard or bounced off his gloves. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what we get from him next. He's #1 contender now for Adonis Stevenson's title. So, but he's been there before. This guy's been waiting 2 years for his shot. He's been the #1 contender, and Stevenson continues to fight whoever else he can instead of fighting this guy. He's 33 years old, 23-0 now. Hopefully, he gets his shot at Adonis Stevenson. Does he beat Adonis? I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch this fight again and take a real close look at it and then think about it from there. But overall, it was a solid fight. It wasn't anything spectacular, but it wasn't anything horrible either. It was just a good, solid boxing match where an old former champion went out there and gave you everything he had left. I don't think this was a case of Pascal not being prepared or anything. He gave you whatever he had left. It was just a case of him meeting a younger, in terms of age, a little bit younger, but in terms of wear and tear on his body and elite matches, younger, hungrier fighter who was dying to get to that top level and just went out there and put on a great performance tonight. Congratulations to Alvarez. Even though you screwed up my pick for the night, I picked Pascal. Specifically because of what he actually did in the first round, luring Alvarez in and nailing him with that counter right. I thought he'd use more stuff like that and catch this guy being over anxious and really wanting to put on a show, but Alvarez kept his composure, that jab, fantastic job, so congratulations to him. Hopefully we see more from him in the near future. Hopefully he gets his title shot soon. And then we move on to the main event now, and this won't take that long. Yeah, disappointing, okay, entertaining in the sense that we saw Adonis go out there and land that clean left hand and over and over and over, and he knocked Fonfara down in the first round and came out in the second, and I think he landed like 7 or 8 straight left hands. And then all of a sudden the referee's waving it off, and I'm wondering, wait, what the hell just happened? Fonfara doesn't look like he's in that bad of shape. He was, he had his hands up and he was looking at Adonis. He didn't look like he was in that horrible of shape. I've seen guys in worse shape in a fight continue. And no, it wasn't the referee, it was Virgil Hunter. He stepped up on the ring apron and he stopped the fight because he said he didn't like what he saw from Adonis in the corner. And he told Adonis that, he didn't like what he saw from Fonfara in the corner. Allow me to correct myself here. Sorry, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning and I've been running around with my daughter and the dog all day. He didn't like what he saw from Fonfara in the corner, and he told him that if he took too many shots in the next round, he was going to stop it. Now, do I agree with the stoppage on Virgil Hunter's part? Do I agree with him? No, I really don't. I'm sure some people will say, well, he was protecting his fighter. How can you argue that? How can you... Listen, we were still really early in that match, and unless Fonfara came back to the corner and was slurring his words and unable to answer you, which if that was the case, you should have just stopped it when he was on the stool, I don't see why you stopped the fight there. He took way more punishment than that the first time these two guys fought and came back late in the fight and made it an amazing fight where we all thought he might be able to finish Adonis late. So instead of giving him a chance to respond and come back in the later rounds, you get up there and stop the fight. I don't understand this. I really don't. I don't know what was going through Virgil Hunter's head at the moment. I'm not sure why he did it or what made him do it. Only Virgil knows that. I mean, I saw the interview. He said that, he didn't like what he saw in the corner, and that he did tell Fonfara, if you don't fight back, if you let him land too many clean shots, I'm stopping the fight. But I still don't get it. I thought, until that shot landed in the first round, Fonfara was actually winning that opening round till he got tagged. And he got tagged chasing Adonis Stevens, really. He was overreaching, and Adonis nailed him with a left hand, and that's what Adonis does, Everybody says he's a one-trick pony, and it's pretty much true for the most part, but that one trick is a left hand that is absolutely devastating. That left hand, I'm yet to see somebody who it doesn't hurt. He might not finish guys like he didn't finish Fonfara in the last fight. He's finished almost everyone else, but that left hand land, he hurts you. There's no question. He hurts everybody he hits with that punch. But I still believe that Fonfara should have been given more of a chance by his corner to try and get back into this fight. We were only a round and a half in. To stop the fight that early just seems odd to me. And, Fonfara didn't complain about it that much. And he kind of said, he covered for Virgil and said he understood and that they're family and he knows his family's looking out for him. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how any fighter could be okay with that. To me, I'm very surprised if Fonfara's okay with this. I know what he said after the fight, but I'll really be in shock if there's not an issue between them behind closed doors, because that was a very quick stoppage. And Fonfara is a known action guy. He's a guy who gets in there and gets into wars. So I don't understand. How is he going to do that with Virgil Hunter in his corner? Because apparently, if he gets rocked and takes a few clean shots, Virgil's going to get up there and stop the fight. I don't understand it. I'm personally not a big fan of Virgil Hunter. I think Virgil's a very overrated trainer. Very overrated. You look at some of the top guys he's trained, people call it a resurgence when they get to Virgil. Okay, the Andre Ward thing, congratulations. He did a great job with Andre. Besides that, have fun. Andre Berto, did he really have a resurgence with Virgil Hunter? How? Name the big fights that he won while training with Virgil Hunter. Angulo, when he went there, not much changed. Amir Khan, not, it's been Amir Khan still, up and down, roller coaster, wins one, loses two. But, his name gets him drawn into big fights still. So I think Virgil Hunter is extremely overrated as a trainer. I think his only real star pupil has been Andre Ward. That's it. It's a horrible way for this fight to end. And, hats off to Adonis Stevenson. He went out there and did what he had to do. He went out there and landed the left hand, and when he saw Fonfara was hurt still, he kept throwing the left hand, and he got, stopped, plain and simple, and it was a, absolute annihilation of Fonfara is what it's going to go on the books as. However, this man right here is still not impressed with Adonis Stevenson. I'm sorry. I know he's got a big left hand, and I know he can hurt people, but to me, he's still cherry-picking his opponents. If all the stories he said were true about the first Fonfara fight, if his hand was really hurt, and if this and this and this was wrong, then he knew going into this fight, if he was healthy, it was going to be a much easier fight. And you look at the last few opponents he's had, they've all been relative walkthroughs for him. I know people will say, because he's, just that good and he's that strong. That is an argument you can make if you want to, but I challenge you to go back and look at even his last 10 fights. I know the Tony Bellew fight is something people love to bring up, and, the Chad Dawson fight is one that people love to bring up, but those fights are the rarities with him, and it's more guys like Tommy Karpancy and Williams Jr. and guys that we don't, Sataski and guys we've never heard of before, and guys that don't deserve the shot. Like I said, Alvarez has been waiting 2 years now. In those 2 years, Adonis has fought 2 other guys. We're lucky he fought that many, too. What's it been? 3 title defenses in 4 years? Meantime, Kovalev, I won't bring Ward into this discussion because he's new to the light heavyweight division, newly crowned champion and all. But Kovalev was on the other side, fighting as often as he could and fighting anybody who would get in the ring with him. So I need to see more from Adonis, and I want to see more. His link to Emmanuel Stewart in the Crunk Gym, it's all really cool. But I want to see more. If you're as dominant as you say you are, if you're Superman, or if you're as good as you say you are, then go out there and get in the ring with the best in the world and prove it. Prove it. Get Andre Ward in the ring. I would love to see you knock Andre Ward out. Absolutely love it. I think it would be a phenomenal fight. And if you got the knockout, it would be one of the biggest knockouts in boxing history. Because Ward is seen to be as a guy that's like indestructible. So you knocking him out would be flat out amazing. I would love to see you and Kovalev, because it's 2 power punchers who seem to be indestructible getting in there and trying to destroy each other. Fantastic fight, in my opinion. But I don't think we're going to get any of that. I think he'll fight Alvarez now because he doesn't have a choice. I don't think the WBC is going to let him keep overlooking the number 1 contender like this. Eventually they're going to turn to him and say, hey, you want to keep your title, you're going to have to fight Alvarez. So I think he'll fight Alvarez. That fight looks like it should be up next, since this evening went this way. I don't think this was the way that Stevenson and Showtime had this planned out. I can almost guarantee that, because there's no other reason for the number 12 ranked light heavyweight in the world to get a shot at the number 1 ranked, number 1 contender in the world, other than they're trying to set up a showdown with Pascal and Stevenson, because they know they're 2 names, both from Canada. It would be a big draw over there, and they're both decent names in the boxing circles, so it would be a pretty big draw to boxing fans. Unfortunately, Alvarez spoiled that plan for them, or fortunately for us, because it would probably just have been a lot of what Kovalev Pascal looked like. It would have been Stevenson landing clean, hard shots on Pascal, and every now and again Pascal trying to make it a fight. But Alvarez upset those plans, so now he's continues to be the number 1 contender and deserves his shot at the title. So Adonis Stevenson, give this man his shot. I liked what I saw from Alvarez tonight. I liked the heart, I liked the toughness, I liked the combination punching, I loved the jab. The 1-2 was crisp, clean, and effective. So I'd love to see him get in there with Adonis Stevenson. And, he took some shots from Pascal tonight. Not a lot of them. Most of them were, shots that went around the guard and bounced off the guard to get to him. But he took a few clean shots, and he took them pretty well. So, I'd be curious to see how he handled Stevenson power. And it would just be nice to see Adonis at least fight the number 1 guy. Fight the number 1 contender for your title. He hasn't done that in a long time. So, again, I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to go next. But who knows with Adonis Stevenson? Maybe he'll, Roy Jones was in Pascal's corner tonight. Maybe he'll get Roy to sign and fight him, even though Roy's not ranked anywhere anymore and shouldn't be fighting at all anymore. But to Pascal, he'll look at that as, an over-the-hill Roy Jones is an easy fight and a big payday. So maybe that's where he'll go next. Who knows? But hopefully he gives this guy, Alvarez, his shot, because he's been waiting 2 years for it. He continues to wait. He even, in his post-fight interview, said he was hoping Fonfara would win. He didn't say why, but I'll guarantee you I know why. Because he knew Fonfara would have given him his shot. I don't think he thinks I don't think he thinks Adonis Stevenson is going to give him a shot, because he's been waiting 2 years now for that shot. And, they'll say, oh, well, you're the number 1 contender now. He's sitting there going, I've been the number 1 contender. So what's the difference? What's going to change now? But we'll have to wait and see. And that's pretty much it. That was the night of the fights. So again, Alvarez, I keep looking up because I'm watching the replay as we speak. Oh, there's that jab again, man. This dude is ridiculous with his jab. To recap, Alvarez gets the majority decision. Ooh, one more thing. Boxing judges continue to perplex me. A majority decision for Alvarez, and one judge had it at a draw. I mean, at least it was a draw, and they didn't have it for Pascal. Thank God. But, I mean, seriously, boxing judges, they need to be an overhaul here. You know, set up a training school or something and make judging fights a high-paid job where you have to go to school and get trained and everything else. Give it to former fighters. Do something. Something better than what we're seeing these days, because I continue to be absolutely fucking perplexed at boxing judges. I agree with Paulie Malignaggi. It's an absolute travesty in the world today that boxing judges apparently sit down and when the fight starts, and then wake up at the end of the 12th round and give you a score that they think the fight should have been. Because that's a lot of the times what it looks like. So again, Alvarez gets the majority decision. Stevenson gets the stoppage in the second round. And we'll see where we go from here, folks. Again, to those of you who do watch these videos, whoever you might be, the few that do, thank you. I'm going to continue to try and make this work. It's all for my baby girl. So, thanks, guys. Have a good night.